Mistakenly called the cops on my 27F boyfriend 29M when he had planned a surprise proposal. Now things between us are strained. Am I able to fix this? I accidentally ruined my BF's surprise proposal when mistakenly thought something was wrong at home. I called the cops. He ended up feeling embarrassed and hurt, thinking I didn't want to marry him. We have been together for 7 years. We moved in together after 2 weeks, adopted a dog and a couple of cats, opened a joint bank account, met each other's families, merged our friends into one tribe. It has been 7 really good years. I'm happy. I am not one of those people that need to be married. I don't need a ring, a ceremony, a piece of paper to commit my life to the one person I love beyond all others. I am his wholly and completely. That isn't to say I'm against marriage, because I'm not. But getting a ring on my finger is not a priority for me. When I have thought about it, I imagine a small wedding with our parents, maybe our siblings, and the efficient, barefoot on the beach. No fuss, nothing elaborate, something simple that we could throw together ourselves, then off to a place we could relax, eat, and drink without the formalities. If I had a dream wedding, it would be that or something similar. Back in July, my boyfriend was acting cagey. I knew he was up to something and trying to hide it. He is no good at trying to keep something under wraps. He's one of those people that, even though they don't say anything, act like they have a secret. I wasn't worried about his secret because I knew he would tell me eventually. I was thinking he was going to surprise me with a weekend getaway because I had been working long hours for a couple of months, and that's the kind of thing he does. One night I arrived home from work and his car wasn't in the drive, the house was dark, and the front door wide open. I sat in the street watching the house for a couple of minutes. There was no movement, no lights in the windows, nothing. I called my boyfriend 4 times, no answer. That wasn't like him. 1 missed call? Sure. 4 missed calls? Number. So I called the cops. I was still on the phone with emergency services when they arrived. They came over to me. I gave them a rundown on what I knew, which was nothing, and they went into the house. A few minutes later, one of them came out and asked me to go in with them. They lead me through the house to the back patio. I had flipped the lights on as I entered and saw that a trail of rose petals took us right out the back, where my boyfriend, wearing a tux and handcuffs, was sitting at our patio table that was set beautifully for dinner. It goes without saying that the surprise proposal was ruined. It has been about 7 weeks since. Things are not good between us. It was a simple misunderstanding on my part. My boyfriend thinks I called the cops because I knew he was going to propose. He thinks that I don't want to marry him, but instead of saying that, I found a way to make sure I wouldn't have to. We have discussed us getting married exactly once, and that was in our first year of being together. I remember the conversation word for word because it was only a handful words. Him: would you wear my ring? Me: yeah. Him: when? Me: surprise me. That was the extent of our discussion about marriage. I don't know how I was supposed to know he was going to ask 5 weeks ago from a half-assed conversation from some 6 years ago. I know I hurt him, and I've apologized for doing so. He refuses to see how it came about that I called the cops. He went to his parents that night because he was upset, then came home an hour later because they thought it was hilarious. Everyone he tells thinks it's funny. He is the one telling people. Before this post, I had not said anything to anyone because I know it upsets him. I don't know what else to do. He doesn't believe me that it was a huge misunderstanding. Am I missing something? Did I break trust or harm him in some way that I'm just not getting? How do I approach this so I can fix it? At this point, I'm thinking of proposing to him so we can move on from this. Relevant comments. Commenter: why in the world did he leave the front door open? OP: he thought I would see the rose petals when I approached. It didn't occur to him that I would find a dark house and the door wide open. Worrying. Commenter: he should have left a note or texted you. A dark house and no answers? It's totally understandable why you'd be worried and call for help. Commenter: right? This is like a textbook situation for when you absolutely should call the cops. There isn't even a smidgen of gray area here. Dude didn't think this through. I don't think he even once put himself in the GF situation. Otherwise, he might have realized that she, like most people, wouldn't even approach the house without help. This is on him. And yeah, the story is funny. As long as in the moment, you're not the one who found yourself staring at your dark house with a wide open door and your BF not answering the phone, or the one who ended up in handcuffs on the night he wanted to propose. Still, for 2 people who love each other and want to get married, there should be a way to move past this. Focusing on the humor in the situation would be one way to diffuse it. It makes a great tale of disastrous marriage proposals. My partner and I would probably have turned it into a rousing story of good intentions gone horribly awry to tell about our relationship for a good laugh. It sure looks like he doesn't want to do that, though, and refuses to move on at all, which makes me wonder how he would cope with the trials and tribulations of married life. Communication, empathy, and a sense of humor don't seem to be his strong suits. Story 2. I'm 23, financially stable, and I refuse to help my parents who are drowning in debt because of their bad decisions. I'm 23, and I'm finally in a good place financially. I worked hard through college, juggling multiple part-time jobs and internships to land a well-paying job straight out of school. I've been smart with my money, saving, investing, and avoiding debt. I've even started building a solid emergency fund and contributing to my retirement. It feels good to have my financial future on track, especially since I didn't grow up with much. But here's the thing. My parents are a financial disaster. They've always lived beyond their means, racking up credit card debt, taking out loans they couldn't afford, and making bad investments. They've declared bankruptcy twice, and every time they get a fresh start, they go right back to their old habits. It's like they never learn. Now they're drowning in debt again, and they've come to me for help. They want me to co-sign on a loan to consolidate their debts and ask for money to cover their mortgage and car payments. The guilt trips are relentless. We raised you, we sacrificed for you, and now it's your turn to help us. They've even played the "you owe us for all we did for you" card. But the truth is, I can't do it. I refuse to bail them out of their bad decisions. It sounds cold, but I'm tired of being their financial safety net. I've seen what happens when you enable their behavior. They never change, and I'm not willing to put my hard-earned stability at risk for them. I've told them I'm not co-signing anything and that I won't be giving them money. They're furious, calling me ungrateful, selfish, and heartless. I feel guilty because they are my parents, and I do love them, but I also know that helping them would just be throwing good money after bad. They need to take responsibility for their own mess and learn to live within their means. I'm done sacrificing my peace and security for their poor choices. I know people might judge me for this, and I've already lost some extended family support who think I'm abandoning my parents, but I have to protect myself and my future. Relevant comments. Commenter: if you want to give them money, give them money. If you don't want to give them money, then don't. That's your choice to make either way. But if you ever co-sign anything that means that you're taking on debt to give them money, you will be the one responsible for paying it back. Never ever do that. Commenter: put a freeze on your credit now. Remind them that they chose to have a child, and with that comes at the bare minimum the responsibility of raising that child. Thank them for the lessons on how to not handle finances through their terrible choices through the years, and you will not be going into debt for them to bail on you. Commenter: OP, please let go of the guilt. It will only hinder you. Once the decision is made to become a parent, they take on the responsibility of caring, providing for and raising the child they created. Those are the legal and moral responsibilities of being a parent. Therefore, the child is never responsible for repayment of those responsibilities. Your parents are trying to manipulate you into solving their problems because it's easier for them versus them changing behaviors and attitudes they have become ingrained to them. Stand on your number. When they try to use how they cared and provided for you to manipulate you into agreeing, remind them that it was their decision to have children, and therefore it was the bare minimum requirement to care and provide for the kid they created. Story 3. Just found evidence that my ex has been breaking into my apartment to read my journal for years. I think I'm in shock. For context, we have been broken up since 2020. We had a business together at the time and decided to keep working together. It was a little rocky at first. We got back together once briefly, but it didn't take, so we became friends, and everything has been pretty smooth for a few years. My ex, 30 meters, has a spare key to my apartment in case of emergencies, and to occasionally pet sit for me, 30 females. Today, I logged into our business Gmail and discovered he has been accidentally backing up his iPhone camera roll to our shared account. One of the first photos I noticed was a picture of my journal. I found out that he has been breaking into my apartment for years, reading my journal entries and taking pictures of some of them to keep. Some of the photos were from the journal I kept while we were still dating, but more recent ones were negative entries I made about 2 of my exes, which coincide with times he tried to get back together with me. The most recent photo was an entry where I described how I was falling in love with my current boyfriend, and the date lines up perfectly with a very upsetting emotional tirade he went on a month ago where he announced he was no longer in love with me anymore. There were a lot of other things on there, like hard evidence of his hookups that confirm he was cheating on me at various stages of our relationship. I'm honestly not surprised by that stuff, but I did panic a bit about the journal entries because he was in my apartment when I wasn't home, and he's been doing this for years. How can someone do that? What else is he doing when he's here? I haven't told him I know all of this yet. I'm trying to process my feelings about it all. For the record, even though a part of me is scared, I don't think he would ever hurt me. But then again, I didn't expect him to be capable of such a blatant violation of my privacy and trust. Relevant comments. Commenter: invest in a few pet cams. OP, all because he's never been violent towards you before does not mean he can't or won't be. He's repeatedly violated you and your home. He is dangerous. You should get cameras for your house before anything else. Don't let him know that you know what he's been doing, but tell someone you trust. Tell your family. Send them all the evidence you have and save all your screenshots somewhere hidden and safe. Not sure if the police would help much, but you should at least file a report so it's on record. Commenter: I hate to think he would go so far as to install cameras, but I'm actually really concerned about this. He recently got a camera for his own apartment to check up on his dog while he's at work. He showed me the app where he can look at it on his phone. I don't know how small the camera is for something like that. Any recommendations for a product to detect a hidden camera, or should I just do a manual sweep? I talked to my sister about this on the phone. If he has cameras, then he could potentially know that I found the photos. Commenter: I'm gonna go against what other people are telling you here and tell you to keep the status quo for a minute. Since you have evidence evidence that he's been breaking into your house, I would bring it to the police. Let them know you have a fear he has installed a hidden camera and ask them to come and search it for you. I know it seems like an extreme jump, but 4 years is a long time to be stalking someone, and that's what he's been doing to you. The only way you can prevent yourself from being a victim of something else is to create a paper trail and evidence with the police. Do not tell anyone that's not in your inner circle what's going on. You don't want to tip him off. You want to act normal and trip him up so he can get caught. Story 4, AIO. My boyfriend said he wishes I was still fat after losing weight, and I'm so fucking pissed. 21F, have been dating my boyfriend Adam, 28M, for almost 3 years now. I feel like some context is needed to accurately describe our situation. When I was 15, my older brother passed away in a car accident, and it threw me into a depression where I became very overweight. He was my best friend and meant the world to me. Losing him led me into the worst years of my life. A few months after I turned 18, I met Adam. He was one of my friend's older brother, and we hit it off. He's smart, charismatic, and I loved his sense of humor. Adam is also heavy, but he was so comfortable in his skin it really made me admire his confidence. I couldn't stand to even look at myself in a mirror, so this last year I buckled down and lost weight, a very significant amount, and now I'm even below my high school weight. I've never been this fit in my life, and I feel so good about myself. My 21st birthday was this last Saturday, and Adam and my friends had planned a party for me. Unfortunately, Adam had a family emergency, so he wasn't going to be around for my birthday. I was completely okay with this, and reassured him that it was fine when I drove him to the airport. My friend Andrea recommended that we should instead go to a strip club, and I thought that was an amazing idea. I'd like to reiterate that it would have been a woman's-only strip club. The next time I talked to Adam, I told him about the change in plans, and he was very adamant that he didn't want me to go. He said it wasn't that he didn't trust me, it's that he didn't trust my friends. I ended up dropping the subject to not cause him further stress, and we ended up just having the party they originally planned. Adam arrived today, and I felt something was off. Something has been off since I lost weight. I kept badgering him until he finally opened up. We talked, and he eventually told me that we don't even look like we belong together anymore. He brought up an instance where we were at the grocery store a week ago, and a guy was asking me questions about watermelons in the fruit section. It was a casual conversation, but he referred to my boyfriend as my brother, and I quickly corrected him. The guy apologized, said we looked similar, and walked off. At the time, my boyfriend laughed it off and didn't bring it up again. He then said something that pissed me off so bad. He said, "Sometimes I wish you were still big so no one else would want you." I lost all sympathy and quickly corrected him. I told him even when I was a big girl, guys hit on me all the time, and just like I always do, I told them I have a boyfriend that I love. He looked dumbfounded when I said this. Elle told him how fucked it was that he wishes that I was back at the size where I was depressed and hated myself. He told me he misspoke, and I'm blowing things out of proportion. We argued more, and he ended up leaving to his brothers to give me space. I've been sitting here just pissing myself off about what he said. Did he really think I was that unattractive when I was bigger? If so, why did he date me? Did he think I was desperate to be with someone because I was so fat? I just need some third-party advice. Am I overreacting? Update. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone for giving me their opinions and advice. It really means a lot to me. I debated if I should post again, but I need an outlet to vent. I've been laying here in the dark, and I've read basically all the comments, and I think an update is warranted. Basically, Adam and I are taking a break, and I've been crying my eyes out for the last few hours. He came home today, and we both agreed that we need to talk and get everything out in the open. He started off by apologizing for what he said, particularly the "sometimes I wish you were still big so no one else would want you" part. I asked if he thought I was unattractive when I was bigger, and he said no, but he doesn't understand why I'm dieting and exercising the way I am. Adam said I shouldn't have to cook 2 different meals and should just eat what he does, and me going to the gym 6 times a week is obsessive. I told him that it makes me happy bettering myself, and he said that it has completely changed me. Adam went on to talk about how all I really care about is my looks now. He said he liked my hair, how it used to be before I went to a stylist. He liked how I used to paint my own nails instead of getting them done, and how I used to never wear makeup instead of how I have to have some on now before I go out. Adam then said he knows I lost weight because I was unhappy with myself, but he was always happy with me, and he doesn't understand why I have to keep trying to make myself hotter when I was already hot. We talked back and forth, but it felt like I was just doing everything wrong. Adam said that I don't ever want to do things he enjoys anymore, like play video games with him or binge watch movies, and he feels like I'm a different person. I have pushed him to go on walks with me or go to the gym in the past, but he's told me no, so I figured we just had our different hobbies. I feel bad because I see from his point I have changed, and I may not be the girl he fell in love with. I told him I love him, and he said he loves me too, but we need to separate for a bit and figure if we're best for each other. I didn't argue, I just said okay and let him pack his things and leave. He's letting me stay in the apartment until I can move my stuff out. I've been crying my eyes out and everything feels like a blur. I don't know where to go from here, and I feel like I ruined my first real relationship. Outro. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest one. Have a great day.